Welcome back to Inside the MotoMan Studio at the Petersen Automotive Museum, and we are incredibly excited about our guest today. We have met in the past. Actually, they told me to stand still, so I'm going to stand still this time. We have met in the past CEOs. We've met chief designers. We've met race car drivers. We've met car guys. But today we're going to meet someone incredibly interesting. We're going to meet a guy that, for lack of a better term, he gets paid to make a car go sideways. But we're going to find out where that started. We're going to find out some of the inspiration of where that came from. But we're also going to find out there was a couple of stops along the way that didn't include cars. And when we know Vaughn today as world champion drifter, there was different cars he started in. And then there was, of course, something that we all kind of know and love, and we're celebrating a birthday, I think, here. And then this man, he not only is a world champion drifter, not only is the founder of his own car, but he taught me how to drift. With that, I want you guys to help me join the man that literally created a job for himself that didn't exist in this country before he started doing it, world champion drifter Vaughn Gittin Jr. Vaughn Gittin Jr. Come on, guys. Vaughn Gittin Jr.
How's it going?
I think this guy's excited here.
Yeah, they sound awesome, though. They sound pumped.
Okay, welcome.
Everybody doing good? Thank you all for coming out. Appreciate it.
All right. Vaughn Gittin Jr. at the Petersen Automotive Museum.
Yeah.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
So, starts in Maryland, doesn't it?
Does. Still in Maryland.
Still, yeah. Actually,
Started,
yeah,
still there.
You are a bit of a homebody, aren't you?
I love my state.
So, tell us where it started in Maryland. Tell us how it started in Maryland.
Well, I was born in Silver Spring,
Yeah.
Maryland, which is just like right outside of D.C., and born to my father, who was a used car salesman, and my mother, who did random jobs, you know. Didn't have a ton of money, got by, and as far as I know, I was a happy baby. I mean, clearly.
Obviously. Clearly a happy
Clearly pimping since about 2.
Yeah. Was that a BMW that you were in there?
Man.
That looks like a 2002 to me.
Nah, you know, I don't know. I believe that's probably my stepfather's car, and if so,
Okay.
you might be right.
Might
You're
be right.
BMW.
But-
You a BMW guy or something?
I'm not a BMW guy.
Okay.
But I think it's interesting that it looks like you were going home in a BMW, but it was clearly preordained the kind of car that you wanted to drive.
Yeah. Look at that guy.
Good looking kid there, huh?
You know, I think I had one tooth in my head there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did Ford pay you then to wear that shirt?
No, but it was kind of a, you know,
Yeah.
future
Yeah.
branding.
So we've got Steve, Mustang product manager over here in the audience here, and so you need to write him a check for that a little later. Okay. But cars, tell me where cars started in your life.
Man, ever since I can remember, 100% car guy. My father, like I said, he was a wholesaler, but he didn't just like buy anything. He was a car guy. You know, he used to drag race and always was, you know, building his own cars as a teenager. So ever since I can remember, my dad had really cool cars, you know. So hot rods, and I vividly remember, you know, being 4 or 5 years old, asking my dad to do a burnout, or you know, Dad, do a donut. You know,
Yeah.
I remember getting pulled over multiple times with him,
Yeah.
kind of being a jerk, and
We were just talking about we're all hooligans here.
yeah. And at 4, you know, I got my first go-kart, and I think that's where, you know, I fell in love. I mean, growing up, you know, I had always had Matchbox cars.
Was your first thing? Your first vehicle was a go-kart?
Yeah, at 4.
You sure about that?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I did have that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Were you drifting in that?
No, probably not. Maybe, though, because it had the plastic wheels on the back.
Yeah.
So I don't vividly remember that. I do remember the go-kart, though.
I'd like to point out, I used to drift myself in a green machine. Remember that one?
Did you?
Yeah. That was awesome. So you trade in your whatever this trike was, and what were you got a go-kart? What did you start doing there?
So I just remember, like, so my father and my mother were split, so I'd go visit my father on weekends. And we would take the go-kart to an industrial park, and I would just run that thing nonstop. And it had a little paddle brake, and it wasn't like a brake to activate brakes. It was like a paddle that went down onto the tire. So I just remember like going as fast as I could and just like pulling a little paddle brake, and I just loved like that skidding feeling. Like it was just
So how old were you when you're feeling the skidding feeling for the first time?
4 or 5 years old.
So this is really, you were preordained for this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Somehow it just, I don't know, it was just fun.
Okay.
And I like having fun, so that's
Any
what I was
other
doing.
interests at the time?
Man, I was really
Besides
all about
getting
cars.
in
I mean, I did t-ball and soccer and basketball, but I was all about cars. And as you can see, back then in 85, 86, no wait, I was 8 there. So that was, Lamborghini Countach was like, I wanted that car so badly. I had a Lamborghini bed, by the way.
Didn't cover
that's
that.
kind of, I know, it's weird, but I had one.
So you told me that you got paid for A's, but never told me about a bed.
I don't think we started talking about my bed when I was a kid.
Yeah, that'd be a little odd. I
there.
love you, man. And,
I don't think we got there.
We go way back, but not that far back. But we did cover the kind of food you like.
Oh, crabs.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
standard, Maryland.
Yeah.
But, you know, to this day, my wonderful wife and I love having people over, tearing some crabs up. It's my favorite when, you know, some of our vegetarian friends come over and we're like feasting on crabs and they have their like peanut butter and jelly going on. So. For those of you that don't know, in Maryland we have crabs, and they're not the crab legs that you guys are spoiled with here. That you just cut open and you get the meat out. The crabs, you really have to dig in, get in the corners and the crevices to get your meat. It's really a process, but
which is kind of a theme.
It's kind of insane.
For you, that's a theme. You're like, this guy's like one of the hardest working guys I know here. So you're saying this kind of started from crab.
You know what? You could say I was inspired from eating crabs.
Okay, so now I think the interview's over. We got literally crabs to world champion drifter.
Done. It was that easy.
Yeah, thank you and good night.
Go home and eat some crabs and you're in.
So then let's talk about this other talent I just found out about.
Yeah.
It turns out someone's very musical.
Yeah. So that's me in the middle in my soccer jersey with the Batman hat. Clearly lead guitarist in this band. This was at Kings Dominion, which is an amusement park by us. And we were doing Guns N' Roses' Welcome to the Jungle right here. So this is the thing, you go in and they film you and the music's playing and you dance around and you go home with a video. So funnier note, my cousin on the right of me, that's Justin, him and I used to do this in my mom's, at my parents' house. Yeah. We'd set up the big, huge recorder back then and stand in front of it with umbrellas and baseball bats. And if anyone ever saw the Ridiculous episode I was on, there was a session of us jamming down there because we were a killer band.
Full on.
Yeah, full on. And my stepdad like stepped in to get in our video, and I like pretend to hit him with the bat, but the bat slipped and I just nailed him right in the head with this super heavy wood bat. So if you haven't seen that, it's on Ridiculous. It's really funny.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Ridiculous, and funny note, California is a wonderful place, isn't it?
Yeah. I like California.
Since you've been here, you've been hiking, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We went on a hike yesterday.
You did. Lovely hike with your lovely wife.
Yeah.
Actually, a big round of applause to Abby Gittin here. She is instrumental in putting this together. But so you went to Gallup and Ford. You decided to go hiking. Tell the audience what you did last night.
Well, we came here to the Petersen and had some fun at the Galpin party. And then after that, we went and did karaoke.
Karaoke?
I like to party.
Yeah, so tell us about your trip to Jamaica, I believe it was? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's every year. That's mine and Abby's reset.
Okay.
From the insanity, we go to Jamaica and bounce around, jump in the water, and chill on the beach.
Is that
and eat really good food. Mm-hmm. Oh, karaoke in Jamaica.
Karaoke in Jamaica, yeah.
So I went to a
See how
karaoke.
he's trying to leave us in the dark here. He's trying to lead us astray.
No, so I ended up going to a karaoke bar with Abby in Jamaica, and they ended up having like this contest that night, and it was all these local Jamaicans with the amazing voices, and I got up on stage and rocked out some Snoop Dogg Gin and Juice, and ended up leaving with a standing ovation and winning the contest. And I'm not sure that it was because I have the voice of an angel, but I think it was more my performance, and I brought it. You know, I was like American Idol at that time, and I went for it.
So we're changing the schedule. So we're doing this Q&A, autograph session, then you're going to be doing a concert.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. We're all looking for. I think we're all excited about this. So you guys excited about this? Yeah. So cars. Let's go back to cars.
Yep.
Okay. Now that we know that you're world champion drifter and Jamaican champion in karaoke.
Yep.
Influence on cars. I mean, said you spent a lot of time with your dad, but it wasn't just kind of your own thing. You and your dad spent some time together with us.
Yeah, I mean, you know, going back to being younger, you know, like when I was a baby, I was colicky, and my dad used to take me around the block in his big block car, and evidently that put me to sleep, right? Yeah. So fast forward a couple of years to the go-kart. My mom, you know, when I was 5, she got married to my stepfather, and told me she had to literally pry the Matchbox cars out of my hands because I had to always have them. So, you know, when I think about it, it's all I've ever really thought about was cars. Like everything else was kind of, I did it because I had to, and I always just wanted, I don't know what I wanted. There was just something about them that attracted me, and they're like sexy and just cool to me. So,
and then, so your dad had a very interesting incentive program not just with cars, but with school.
Yeah, when I was in elementary school, I would get $25 every A that I got. And back in elementary school, I don't know if you guys had the same thing out here, but we got like 30 grades. It was like reading comprehension, writing, cursive, blah, blah. So I was racking it up. So that was like my motivation to get some money.
Get some money.
Yeah.
And then that kind of turned in, you didn't trade the money in, but I believe, was it 14, you got this?
Yep. Yeah.
And what did you start doing with this?
So initially, I just started riding and having fun on weekends when I go see my dad. That kind of traded out. I'd outgrown the go-kart, probably. And in between that, you know, did some skateboarding and BMX, and then really got into motocross. So started just riding and having fun, and then I took it to the next level. Like everything I ever try to do, I get bored, and then try to keep, you know, progressing it. And started racing motocross, and actually started getting, you know, pretty decent. I wasn't a pro, but I was in, you know, B and C class, and you know, was winning races and just having fun. You know, something that, you know, I bought the dirt bike, worked, spent my money on doing this.
And what was your mother carting you to school in?
So that was in. When we lived together, so just after, so I was probably 5 to 8 years old, my mother, again, didn't have much money. My mother had a Chevy Chevette, and it had a rust hole in the floor I could like see the road in, and it didn't have heat, so like in the winter in Maryland, it's obviously cold, unlike you Californians. But we had a blanket that went over us on the way to school so that we had heat. So eventually we got rid of that amazing vehicle. Yeah.
But it obviously left an imprint on you. How would you describe yourself in terms of competition?
In terms of competition?
Yeah.
Relentless.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I've been and evolved into someone that, you know, I'm very passionate about everything that I do, and if I want it, I'm going to figure out how to make it work. So I think relentless is good.
Okay, that's a good one. So give us the progression here. So it's dirt bikes.
Yep.
And then what kind of happens after dirt bikes? You're now getting to the point where you're into high school.
We kind of skipped the skateboarding, BMX. So you know, full on, you know, inspired by, you know, X Games and that life, right?
So what about what year is this?
This would be 13 through 18, still while I'm doing motocross, you know, skating with my friends, and just really in that lifestyle. You know, it was just something that was a lot of fun, very challenging. So all of these things, right, skateboarding, BMX, motocross, all kind of led to when I was 18, I got my first rear-wheel drive car. That's 16.
That's 16?
Yeah, that's
okay.
16. So that's my first car. Sorry, I'm skipping ahead a little bit. So this is my first car that is a 1964 Cutlass with hydraulics and 100-spoke Daytons. My father bought this from me, again, wholesaler, always found the killer deals, but there's actually a Jamaican family.
This is a theme.
Go figure, Jamaica, by the way.
Thing, yeah.
So there's actually a Jamaican family that was in a rush to get back to Jamaica for some reason. And I just turned 16 and I got honor roll. And again, my dad was super serious about good grades. So he bought this for me for $2,200 from this Jamaican family that
kitted out like this?
Yeah, just like they wanted
2,200 bucks.
So this is how my dad rolled. This was 15 grand they wanted for this back then. Back then, I sound so old right now.
Yeah.
So 15 grand, and they were like, no, go away. And then they called him back and gave it to him for what he wanted it for. Anyway, I got surprised with it my 16th birthday, and that picture right there is how we spent most of the time with that car, working on it.
So that's you and your dad there?
That's me and my father, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's old Vaughn Gittin Sr.
Yeah. Now this had an untimely end, this car?
Yes, so I had this car from 16 to 18, which it was amazing. Like in high school, rolling up, hitting switches, bouncing. I got this thing on the freeway. I figured it out. Like if you did like 60, every now and then you would get like a super hop where the wind would catch you. So you do like 2 hops and it'd be like this big one. So I'm not sure you're supposed to hop them at 60 miles an hour, but I made it work.
And this is in Maryland. Let's point this out. This is not in Southern California you're doing that.
Yeah, and I was a super skater kid. You see my little blonde hair there, and I was all tall and lanky, and so very not what you would expect rolling up in a lowrider, but I owned it and I loved it. It was such a cool car, but it was a pain in the ass. I would be in school, roll up, like the hydraulics leak on this thing. It would blow O-rings in the dump, so my hands would be oily all the time. I'd just be dirty. And, you know, it was time to go.
So you really had to beat the ladies off with a stick with this thing.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. That was super chick magnet.
And then what happens after this car? Like, what kind of car do you get after this?
So I had that, and because it was a pain, I had a Toyota Tercel hatchback.
Really fire-breathing monster.
Yeah, I had and I had a...
World champion drifter, Toyota Tercel.
I had a... Well, this car was fun. Not because it was a cool car, but because I made it fun. I had a house speaker in the back. Any of y'all put house speakers in the back of your car when you couldn't afford a real? Yep, you know. So I had a house speaker in the trunk, and what we would do again, I would load this car with friends, which would be 4, and it would be like super tight.
Yeah.
And we had this back road, and I would get momming down this back road, and it was this really windy road, and then cut off left and go up this hill where the power lines were, and we would just launch this Toyota Tercel. And we did this after school every day until I broke the car in half.
And you stayed on the honor roll while jumping a car simultaneously.
Well, I think I might have slacked off honor roll once I got the Cutlass. I don't think I got honor roll too much after 16, 17. Stop. Yeah, 25. Well, because in high school, we only had 7 grades. So after elementary and middle school, the potential for 30 A's went away. 7 wasn't really worth my time. So I focused my time on other jobs that made the toys and the dirt bikes and the cars work out for me.
Okay. So now we're talking a work ethic. So all of us, show of hands, all of us know Vaughn like this, right? I know we know this guy. World champion drifter, looking pretty svelte, cool guy. But
thank you.
You had a different job. I'm not trying to hit on you.
Yeah, no worries.
Don't get too excited, especially at least not in front of your wife. But you're not. What are you doing at that point?
I was in. So what year are we at right now? I'm kind of lost.
We are just after high school.
Okay.
And you got a Toyota Tercel. You're 18, 19, something like that.
So I had many jobs. First job was at Wendy's, which we didn't talk about. I was 16 years old. First job was at, well, I actually had a paper route before and then went to Wendy's, which was a fantastic job. And then after that, I was a car detailer at a detailing shop at a Cadillac dealership. And the sales manager was a real jerk to me one day and embarrassed me in front of a customer. So I nicely gave him this single finger that we use all over the world, and went the next day and bought a used truck and started my own detailing business. So through...
And what was the goal at that point?
The goal at that point was to continue paying my bills and be able to race motocross and continue to do what I wanted to do.
Do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And make $100 grand.
I mean, that was always the magical, okay, so I see where you're going with this. So I'm detailing, I'm going to college at the same time.
Yeah.
And then after a year and a half of college, I was like, man, I really hate science and like I hate this math. Like I'm good at computers. And this was around the time when we were hearing all those ads, get your MCSE, get Microsoft certified, make 75 grand a year, blah, blah, blah. So I decided to leave college and go to a technical school. And in, I think it was like 6 months, I was Microsoft certified. And I had a killer job designing wireless networks before wireless was what it was now.
So you were the IT guy.
So I was full-blown computer nerd. Yeah. But a cool-ass computer nerd. No, but, you know, for me, it was, my mindset was, okay, at that time in college, I did have a little car addiction. So I knew I needed to make a good living to support my car addiction. So I was
Don't
like,
we all in this room? We all have a car addiction.
So
this is like, hi, my name is Vaughn.
That's
I'm
why
an addict.
That's why I went into IT, because I knew like I was good at it. You know, I'm in that generation that just started with it. You know, when I was 13, I was playing with a 9600 BPS modem. So
man,
you know, I was
when
on the
those things used to dial
BBS
in.
boards that were still like 8-bit, but it was just kind of second nature to me.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. But then you started noticing something. You wanted to do something else. What were you doing on the weekends?
Yeah, so...
Actually, no, I jumped over this. You noticed something on the weekend and you had a buddy that bought a car.
Yeah, so, again, back to my father, he's a wholesaler, so all my friends would ask us, would always want to come to the auctions with us and get a car because they knew we could get the good deal. So a friend of mine wanted a car, so we took him to this lot, and there was this 1993 Nissan 240SX. It was green, and long story short, he bought it. I ended up having to drive it home because it was on my dad's tag, and he didn't want him chancing wrecking it and messing up his insurance. So immediately leaving that lot, and I really didn't know what I was doing. It was the first time I ever did it, but I just like went to leave the lot, and I just floored it and just dumped the clutch, and the car got a little squirrely, and it worked out. You know, motocross instincts, the little go-kart sliding instincts came in. I was like, yeah, that was cool. You know, one tire fire. And then a couple days later, he tried that same stunt leaving college and crashed the car into a tree. So this car that he just bought for $7 grand back then, so we're talking 98 now, put into a tree, and I bought it from him. I gave him $1,000 for it, and sat out front of my mom and stepfather's house for like a year before I could afford to fix it.
Yeah.
Once I got it fixed, it became my daily driver, and that's when I accidentally fell into drifting. I started going to those same industrial parks and you know, just playing around, doing donuts and power sliding, and not really knowing I was drifting, but just having fun. And then a couple years later, a friend showed me a video of drifting, and I'm like, wow, this place. You're getting ahead of me. 1 sec. You know, there's this sport that you can, you know, show your style and personality from behind badass, fun to drive cars. So right after I saw these videos, I started doing some research, and California had it going on already for like a year, but we just started getting some events on the East Coast, and I went to my first event and just fell in love with the sport, the scene. I mean, it was skateboarding and BMX vibe around cars. So I just fell in love. So, started going to these events. Every Wednesday I'd drive to New Jersey, which is like 3.5 hours from my house. We had this thing called Drift Out Wednesday. It was the last Wednesday of the month every month. And I would drive in that car like this, the whole car full of tires. So like my seat's all cramped up because the tires, no cage. This was not when I was a safety first kind of guy. And just doing.
But you're still working as a tech guy at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still working in Arlington as a computer nerd. So fast forward, a bunch of events and really chasing this down and loving it. I got the opportunity to go to this actual event, which as you can see is in California. This was the Nopi World Finals in 2003 in October. So I got invited to this, but they weren't paying for it. And I'm like, shit, how am I going to get to California? Like, I'm working, I'm making good money, but I've been blowing it all in this car. So what does a 23-year-old with a dream do? Maxed out my credit card.
Nice.
So I basically, it was like, I kind of had the mindset, I was like, all right, this is going well. I believe in this sport. I believe in what we're doing. And this is my chance. California, wow. I'm a Maryland guy, never been to California, you know what I mean?
But how many of these things did you do, this Wednesday thing up in Englishtown, did you do?
I did that solid for a year, and then I did some East Coast competitions and did really well, and I knew that I was good.
So you were making a name for yourself at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, as much as you could for the state of the sport at the time.
And there was no Formula Drift at that point.
No.
I mean, it was like a ragtag group.
Yeah, so this was 03, October. They had just announced Formula Drift was starting in 2004. So I got the invite out here. I said, this is my chance, this is my shot. So I maxed out my credit card. I sent my car to a shop out here called Kaz, who does differentials. And I actually had them put a differential. I didn't even have a diff in it. I just had like well, that's too technical, but the car wasn't even...
You're in a car museum.
It had a viscous limited slip in it.
I got a guy that builds Mustangs for a living over here.
It had a viscous limited slip in it, and I was doing all these things with this differential that would work sometimes and wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So now that I was making this shot while I was in California, I figured I'd buy the right stuff.
Yeah.
So I spent $1,000, which was a ton of money to me back then. Again, maxed out the credit card to ship it there, and showed up at this event, and I brought proposals and that's where I met my first sponsor.
So proposals. Let's talk about this. So your dad literally provided an incentive program on grades.
Okay.
Okay. You went and found this job literally to support your addiction to cars. So you're busting your ass. You're working your ass off.
Yeah.
Where did you get the concept as a guy who's maxing out his credit cards to say, you know what, I'm going to put proposals to get sponsorships so I can get paid for this?
I don't know.
I just did.
No, it just, I like when I look back on this stuff, it's just all kind of been a natural progression of experiences in my life that have gotten me to figure out how to build this, this business and enterprise, if you will, that I've built over the last 12 years. And I think it's just from being very perceptive, like in IT, as I went in there, I was IT manager before I got to the point you're about to get to. And I was being, sales guys were calling me, and I was the guy being marketed to because they all wanted me to buy their products.
Yeah.
So, of course, so you have that, and then also me watching motocross, and I was a fan of pro motocross. So seeing, just kind of understanding the business in a very not trying to way, it just kind of happened to me, and I guess I'm a nerd like that too. I enjoy business. So when I started to realize I wanted to do something with this, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to need people's help. So I looked into the science of, well, why do people help people like me, and figured out, how to make a, mutually beneficial relationships with potential partners.
And you no longer have a white car.
And now I no longer have a white car.
Exactly.
So left California, made a great impression on some people. A couple of days later, when I got back home, they called me. They said, hey, we want you to be on our team. Here I am, 2004, in that same white car, did all of this except for the paint in my garage. So bolt-in roll cage, not even welding at that point. That thing I think had like 325 wheel horsepower, which like if you showed up at Formula D with that right now, you would never even think to qualify. Believe it or not, this event is Road Atlanta, first Formula Drift. This is the first time I ever pulled the handbrake in a car. Which for those of you that don't know, handbrake and drifting is like, you need it big time, especially now. So this was a huge entry, never done an entry like this. I mean, this is how young drifting was in the US. You know, the guy, I finished 4th here. So the top guys at the time, we're all up at the top of this hill looking down like, man, that's a big straightaway before that turn. But we all just went for it. And by the end of the event, I think everybody that showed up to that first event was like 10 times better of a driver.
So again, let's step back to your dad. He's a classic kind of American muscle car guy. What did he put you to sleep in a 454 Chevy?
Yeah.
He sees his son going sideways. That's what he does. What's he telling you?
Well, first thing, when I'm building this car in the garage and he sees me dumping my money into it, he's like, what are you doing with this, Jap crap? What are you doing with this? And I'm like, you don't get it, Dad, whatever, And then when he first saw me out on the track, I mean, it was immediately he got it.
Yeah.
And he was, I don't want to say he wasn't supportive. I mean, my parents have been super supportive of anything that I want to do, but he was very curious as to why I was focusing on this.
Curious. It's a very interesting term.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. So what happens at that point? So you get this, you go out, you did well at this event, you come back with a sponsor. The sponsorship, it wasn't like a straight, here's a check.
No. That sponsorship back then in 2004, for me painting my car the team colors, I got 10 tires per event. Now we go through that in like a half a practice. But so I got 10 tires, and I used that opportunity because it was obviously a very prevalent team back then. I used that opportunity to build other partners. So, hey, I'm going drifting. Now I started calling a clutch partner and an air filter partner and wheel companies and
so you're literally bartering at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going drifting.
Yeah.
I need some help. So I'm doing everything I can, I'm spending every dollar I can to do it. It's something that I believe in and I believe that there would be a future. So it was kind of, I go to work and all I do at work is get my job done and think about this the whole time. So
what's the schedule? It's Monday to Friday, you're Mr. Hi, I'm here to fix your computer, and then on weekends you're going sideways.
Yeah, so up until 2004, I drove across the country on with a truck and an open trailer, everything in the back, and that's how I ran the Formula Drift season that year. 2005.
So no more driving to New Jersey with tires crowding you in the Nissan.
Well, yeah. I progressed from that.
Yeah.
But in 2005, that's when I started to basically leave work early on Thursday, fly to the event, red eye home on Sunday. I get home at like 6 a.m., stop at the house, take a shower, and go to work. So I did that for a few years, which got to be pretty insane, but my job liked me and they supported me doing it, so I kept rocking.
So there's a big theme we're seeing here now. There's an incredible work ethic you have. How did you develop that?
I've never been asked that question, so I've never really looked into it, but I think
What's highly unusual? We're all car guys. We love driving cars. Like, I love driving cars, and it's all fun about the car.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you are incredibly different in that you are good at driving the car, but you're a businessman. You have a work ethic too.
Yeah, I think I probably owe it to my parents because they never gave me anything. I always had to work for it. Like my mom, she was like, I'm not buying you $80 pair of shoes. I'll give you $35 for the shoes we can buy at Kmart, and if you want better ones, then you need to find the money. So
do we have to ask, did you wear the Kmart kicks?
No, I did not. I cut lawns and rake leaves and delivered newspapers to be able to do that. So I think, a lot of my work ethic comes from my parents not making things easy on me and me being I want this, okay, well, here it is kind of kid. Like, I got things on birthdays and Christmas and everything else I wanted, I had to earn. So.
Yeah. So now we're getting a little farther down the road, and you had a vision. What was that vision?
So in 2004, Ford released the rendering of, or released the concept of the S197. I think the one that I remember seeing was the yellow one. It was a GTR on the side of it, and it was this very aggressive looking Mustang. And so once I saw that, that engaged me, and then I started looking at what the actual car was, and I'm like, shit, this thing looks amazing. And not being a Mustang guy at the time, well, business started kicking in. I'm like, man, this would be really cool. It's time. Like, let's bring some American muscle into drifting. So ended up happening. The team I was with at the time, we decided that it was a great idea. And they actually ended up going to a dealership, and we bought, because in '05 when this Mustang came out, it was like impossible to get. And so we paid $5,000 over a sticker for this thing. And then
so this
turned
is
it
a
into a
regular
race
street car. This isn't what you got now. This is something you take off the showroom floor and you make it into a drift car.
Yeah, so this car in '05 was a Mustang off the showroom floor, coilovers, some suspension arms, a roll cage, and we changed the motor to make the power that we needed to. But this was a very, like, what would be an archaic drift car right now. Like, super simple.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were doing as far as like making them work and the engineering behind them at that point.
How much input did you have on setting that car up?
I actually gave them the alignment settings and ride height settings from my 240SX, and I was like, just make it like this. Like, this is a good point, right? Because no one had ever done this.
Yeah.
And we made it work. You know, I came out, debuted the car at Atlanta that year, '05, so the first Formula D round, and like, I think I qualified first or second in my first run in the car.
And you were the first person taking these things out, taking Mustangs out on drift?
So that same year we launched ours, little did we know, Ken Gucci was also going to be in a Mustang. So we both came out pretty parallel with the car. We weren't privy to that they were doing that until after, but so there was 2 Mustangs in Formula Drift this year.
And this is, so let's go back to the sponsorship discussion. So you got a couple of sponsors at this point, giving you gear, that kind of stuff. You're still doing the job. Was this a formal relationship with Ford you had at this point, or was this just, hey, we want a Ford?
No, it was just,
Yeah.
I just want to bring some American muscle in, and I
Yeah.
think the Mustang looks cool.
Yeah. Did you see that picture of you with a T-shirt back when you were like 4?
No.
Yeah. Nothing to do about that. But like, you went to California, you were knocking on doors with proposals when you went to California. Were you calling Dearborn?
So as soon as I knew we were getting a Mustang, I was knocking on the door.
Yeah.
I mean, every chance I got, you know, I sent the guys at Ford info, and, you know, trying to create some sort of relationship. And that did not come to fruition until 2007.
Wow. So it's
So
still
a couple years.
trading and Visa.
Yeah, well, you know, my team, you know, the deal that I had was basically, you know, they supplied the car, the team, the crew. I just show up with my helmet, and I was able to bring some of my other partners. So whatever I could leverage in the program, you know, was able to go to support my living. So from, you know, 2005 to 2007, anything else I was able to make happen through drifting supplemented my IT job's income. So
And what's leveraging? What are you bringing to the table for the people you were working with?
well, I've always worked my program. I'm not going to tell all my secrets, but I've always worked my program very uniquely.
Well, I want to start drifting, so I'm trying to learn.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've always worked my program pretty unique. You know, I learned very early on that you couldn't guarantee any kind of return through motorsport itself. And the days of just putting stickers on race cars and getting a paycheck were long gone, especially in a sport as young as drifting. So I came up with some unique ways of marketing and using my partners' advertising to help everybody in the program. For instance, if K&N does an ad and they were to, you know, spend a couple $100,000 on ads, that included my car, which got exposure for all of the partners involved in that car, now everybody is getting value from that. So I built some really unique things that ended up building into something that was very valuable to partners, and grew it. My first, for instance, my first team, it was 10 tires per event, and K&N, I got like $200 in filters the first year, and it's just been building and curating these relationships. And I say partners because I don't believe my partners are sponsors. A sponsor is someone that gives you something and you don't, you just give them some quick return, it's over. A partner are people that work together and work to achieve each other's goals by communicating and whatever needs to happen that year. So paint us
the landscape here. There's how many people in Formula Drift doing this at this point in the U.S.?
At that point, 30, 40.
Okay.
Maybe.
How many of them are thinking like this?
None.
Yeah. So now you're a businessman, but you're also starting to win.
Yeah, so this is an amazing photo to me. So not only did we introduce the Mustang, I know Ken was there doing his thing, but of course I feel like my program was better. So we have a Mustang in 2005. Initially everybody's like, what are you doing with a Mustang, like running against all of these like little nimble cars? And I'm like, the car's amazing. And I'll get into my realization of what I'd been missing on with Mustang in a minute. But so we had some decent success in Formula D, but in 2005 we had the USA versus Japan, which was the founders of drifting essentially. D1 GP in Japan came over to the US and they had an all-star event. So they brought all their top guys, and it was all their top guys versus all of our top guys. And 2003 and 2004, they came over and just made us look like little kids, just spanked us. And this year, they brought multiple of their previous year's champions. And I kicked all of their asses.
In a Mustang.
Amazing. In a Ford Mustang. It was just amazing, like for me, not just for me personally, but for drifting in the U.S. in general. Like I feel like it was like that was such a statement for what passion and commitment can achieve. We launched this car, no development, and at the end of the year, we beat all the most all of the previous champions of D1. It was kind of the shot heard around the world, if you will, in the drift world. Like this was not supposed to happen. The organizers of D1 were super upset, like telling their drivers that they were gonna have to go back and shave their head, which is like a thing that you do in Japan when you've shaved your family.
You didn't get many pictures of shaved heads.
Yeah,
you need to
I
get
don't know that happened, but yeah, what an epic day, and this very much so launched my career, is a huge part of who I am.
So what's happening now out on the drift circuit from 2005 to 2007 in your career?
A lot of learning, progression, and pretty good success. We've always been pretty competitive in Formula D. This is the 2007 World Championship that I won, again, at Irwindale Speedway. But the sport is on fire. I'm continuing to curate the business and continue to do the things I need to do to keep the progression. I'm very focused on not only worrying about my personal program, but trying to help the sport as a whole grow. So I'm very involved in myself and my Drift Alliance pros. We're traveling the world doing demos and just sharing the sport. And we're doing DVDs and doing a lot of really cool, creative, fun projects to get exposure for not only myself, but the sport in general. So, but there's a huge progression, year after year, the cars are getting crazier, more horsepower, more grip, and the sport is just progressing insane.
So what happens in 2007?
2007, we were just there. I won the World Championship. What else are you leading me into here?
So up until this point,
I know what happened.
schedule.
Yeah, got it.
He's getting old, this guy, man. It must be the exhaust and the smoke.
No, you're bringing up a bunch of things. I'm trying to keep it
Let it
flowing
out,
here.
man.
Yeah.
Let it out.
So 2007. So I've been on this crazy chasing this dream and, working real life and, IT guy and dream race car driver and like killing myself to make it all work. And I'm like, all right, I'm half footing here. I kind of felt bad. Like I was doing a good job for the company I was with, but they weren't getting all of me. And I was cutting myself short a little bit on my dream on the motorsport end. So I was like, I just have to do it. So I didn't have, like, the guarantee wasn't there. Like it was a risk, but I was like, I'm just
When is there ever a guarantee?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think your
So
father
no
taught you
risk, no
that,
biscuit,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
no risk it, no biscuit?
no risk, no biscuit.
No
yeah.
biscuit. Okay, got it.
All right, so
There you go. You've learned something.
So I quit my IT job. I
Quit
walked
the IT
away
job.
from I was what 27 years old, and I made so I always had this number in my mind.
Yeah.
I want to make $100,000. Like I think that would be so great, and I finally was there.
Yeah.
And 27, I was pretty pumped on that, but it came.
And you're a homeowner as well. We actually skipped that. You were a homeowner at an early age.
Yeah, I bought my house when I was 21. But I realized very quickly that wasn't about money for me. It was just I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So I was like, the race car thing, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be a race car driver and be a gazillionaire. It was, this is what I want to do. The reality over here was very tempting, 9 to 5, home on the weekends.
Yeah.
A
Easy
race
life.
car driver is way cooler. So I quit my IT job and just went for it.
Yeah. Actually,
And,
tell us what the most interesting location you ever took a tech call.
Oh, so during this time between 05 and 07, I actually, I was on call at the track. So I literally would have my work phone in my race suit, and I've 100% multiple times done tech support while sitting on grid waiting for practice. So it's pretty insane the things that I did to now that I never get a chance to really look back at it. I go. So I don't never. This is kind of cool to actually think about it.
It's a pretty incredible journey.
What's that?
It's a pretty incredible journey.
Yeah. Again, I don't think about it. I just do it. So.
Well,
But no, I think it's kind of cool actually.
Let me put an idea in your head. So you go from taking tech calls at drift events from a cell phone in your racing suit to doing something that other race car drivers in the past have done. What car is that?
That is the Mustang RTR.
What is a Mustang RTR?
That is my car.
Your car.
Mm-hmm.
So no more tech guy, now you're a car constructor.
Yeah, so to step back a little bit, growing up, I wasn't a Mustang guy.
Yeah.
I was kind of in that, I hate calling it the import scene because I'm not like proud of the import scene back there, but back then.
Was a Torcel really part of the import scene?
No, but the
You gotta be
240
honest there.
SX was.
Yeah.
The 240 SX was. I did have some sweet ass car hubcap covers on that Tercel though.
Yeah.
So.
Notice we didn't get a picture of the Torcel.
Yeah, I don't think there is any. That's not really something that I'm like, yeah, take a picture of my car.
There was no slaying the ladies in the Torcel.
So growing up, I wasn't into Mustangs or American cars.
Yeah.
I was in this import scene, and I loved the culture of that. Like, I thought it was cool what was going on. I didn't necessarily agree with some of the wild things people were doing to the cars, but overall, I was into it. So when I first drove that Mustang that we bought, I was like enlightened. I'm like, why have I been missing this, right? That was like kind of my first thought, and I really didn't think too much into it, but over the years of starting in 05 and meeting the amazing people that are behind Mustang, not necessarily just Ford, but the people. Mustang is a culture. And once I was, again, not only enlightened by the car, enlightened by the people, I'm like, why have I been missing this for so long? This is a car that has been in America forever. We all know it. Why did I want the 240SX and not the Mustang? And the only conclusion, came to two conclusions. One was that none of us in my generation, we all want to make our own footprint. So we don't want what our parents had, number one. And two, you know, the import thing at the time, I think was kind of a little bit rebellious. And I think our generation was kind of that. So I was like, okay, so if this car kind of has been around for a while and it's kind of old to us, my generation, I'm like, how does it become, you know, now I want people to be enlightened. I want people to give Mustang a chance because it's a badass car and it's cool and it's fun.
Were you driving one like a normal Mustang? Was that your daily driver at that point?
Not at the time, no.
What were you driving daily driver at that point?
I had a couple 240SXs, and I had a, what do we have? We had a Tahoe and a Mazda Millennia. Yeah.
A Mazda Millennia.
Yeah, that was my beater back and forth to Arlington every day.
Okay.
Because the Tahoe towed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Got it.
So all used cars, I had never purchased a new car until obviously recently. But so anyway, so I was enlightened by Mustang. Light switch went off, and I'm like, okay. I didn't like Mustang because, in my mind, it's old news. The aftermarket styling was so traditional. Everybody, you know, every model of Mustang, the companies came out with the same stuff, the same products, and I just like felt that it wasn't appealing to me personally, and I felt like, okay, well, I kind of speak for a generation. I'm an enthusiast. I love cars. Okay, so there's an opportunity here to engage new eyes on the Ford Mustang, and once I get them engaged, they're going to fall in love with the car. So for me, you know, with a newly formed relationship.
What about the other way? Because when you think Mustangs, 50 years the car's been around.
Yep.
So it's an older generation that was following that car, and then obviously this import scene, it's more of a younger generation.
Yep.
Was the thought process like, hey, well, what about the older guys looking into this?
I wasn't really thinking too much about the older guys. I was very much focused on my generation and kind of had this personal goal of like flipping people. You know, like I know how people were saying to me when they knew I was getting a Mustang and bringing it to drifting and naysaying, and still knowing, you know, the mindset of the scene that I was in, the import scene, and what they think about Mustangs. And I had proved myself that we're all wrong. So I wanted to change that perception. So I was like, okay, if I can make a car that would appeal to us by taking things that has been influential to our generation, applying it to a Mustang, now I can change the mindset of what a Mustang actually can be and where it fits in the scape of automotive culture. So, you know, I worked with a designer, and this is 2009, by the way. I worked with a designer to get this idea out of my head. I made a big like influence sheet and sent it to him. I was like, look, I want wheel style like this, boom, chin, and came up with what I thought was a really cool looking car. And I went to the team at Ford, and I was like, hey, explain to them all the things I just explained about, hey, you know, we need to get a new generation. I'm seeing this in the field and da-da-da. And they look at it like, man, like, this is really cool. But by the time it, you know, goes through all of our processes and things, it's not going to be what you want it to be. So I'm like, how do I do this? And like everything else, I just figured it out. I went and found somebody that could take the piece of paper and the drawings. And by the way, you know, Ford, again, they liked it, they got it, they supported it, but there was just no way to make it happen directly through them. So I went and found somebody that could take what I had on paper, turn it into parts, and we built the first prototype Mustang RTR.
And what does RTR stand for?
RTR is ready to rock. It's, you know, for me, it's not like our big marketing ploy or anything. It's just, I've always said, hey, I'm ready to rock. And this car, my vision was not only to have an amazing looking car that kind of looks-wise changed the perception of what a Mustang could be and how aftermarket styling could go in a different direction than
was it just
traditional.
Styling, or did you do anything more to the car?
So the ready to rock means it's ready for anything. Yeah. So the car, you know, I worked, the suspension is ready to rock. I mean, it's got, you know, adjustable sway bars, adjustable shocks, so the car's ready for anything. It feels great on the street. It can be set up to be very easily for drifting. You can make a couple shock clicks and a sway bar adjustment and make it oversteer. You can make those changes as well to make the car very neutral and handle amazing on the racetrack. And you know, it's also very great and to drive in on the street. So, nutshell, my vision was to build this amazing, aggressive-looking car that was very functional. The Mustang stock is very functional. I just wanted to change it up a little bit and make it, you know, a little bit more aggressive than what, you know, Ford arguably might want to do, but because of their broad scope of people that need to be, you know, not everybody wants the hardcore performance. So, you know, we stepped it up a little bit, and it's grown to be something very amazing and beyond where I thought we would be right now. But it's my baby, and it's something I'm very committed to.
And that's 2009. You started this.
Yep.
2010. Big year.
Big year.
Other than meeting me, what happened?
Is that when I met you?
That's when we met.
2010?
Yeah, 2010. I rolled LA Coliseum and told you I don't get this drifting thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then I flipped you quick.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the chalk talk, he goes, we're going 60 miles an hour going into the drift, blah, 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 blah. And then I get the helmet on, get in the car, he looks at me, he goes, for you, we're going 80. Yeah. Needless to say, I don't have that underwear anymore, but that's great. So what happened besides meeting me in 2010?
So this photo isn't actually 2010.
It's not 2010.
That's
About
okay.
this, is that 2010?
That's 2010.
Okay.
So I won.
We'll try again.
I won the Formula Drift Championship that year. Not only did we win it, not to be too arrogant about it, but it was the most dominating year ever for a championship driver. I did 6 out of 7 podiums that year. Yeah, it's me and my boy Chris Forsberg, one of my best friends, and he was a champion in '09, and I was a champion in 2010. So
awesome. I mean, big round of applause for that. World champion drifting. So at this point, I wouldn't say guarantee, but it's starting to pay off. You know?
Yeah, I mean, work hard, play hard, man.
Yeah, you don't none of this giving up this to go back and get a real job.
No, you know what's so weird though? Like I've recently had dreams like at being at work, or like sometimes I wake up from them like, oh man, I gotta do this computer stuff, and then I realize, wait, no, I don't do that anymore. Like, it's so weird. I don't know why it comes back to me every now and then.
Yeah.
But
so drifting, this is interesting. Now I want to step back, and I guess for the older people in the audience, and obviously for me as well, I didn't get it when we first met. And you were kind enough to spend some time with me to teach me how to drift in a V6 Mustang, actually.
Yep.
And walk us through what's involved in trying to make this thing go sideways.
Well, drifting is, so you just want me to explain in general?
In general, but
how
we're
drifting
talking
works.
about serious car control here. Because
Yeah.
it's controlling the car, and then there's the overall sport of drifting.
Yeah.
And I think the controlling the car part, I kind of understood. It's the drifting, the sport part, I didn't get. I mean, I'm a race car guy. I like Lotuses. I like to go fast. I did rally and big horsepower cars. Me, it's as a competitor, if you're ahead of him, you win. That's very simple. With you guys, it's different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a quick nutshell. So drifting in general, let's not confuse it with the professional sport, right? Like you take motocross, and riding a dirt bike is way different than racing a motocross race, right? So let's just say drifting in general is having fun in a car on a course, and sliding around and just having fun, showing your style, personality from behind the wheel. So of course, there has to be a way to make this a competition, right? So drifting competition is basically, it's a judge sport. We go into a driver's meeting, and our judges explain to us specifically what they want this event. So while each track is different, the variables that we're judged on are the same. So it's line, which is running on the exact proper line, speed, which is measured by radar guns, angle, which is how sideways you are, and overall impact, which is your general crazy factor, how close you came to dying on that run, essentially. So, you know, for instance, line. So it's very technical. It's not just a line. It's being at these exact places within inches at these, you know, at the exact defined point on the track. So, so through that, you know, single runs, we have judges watch us and they judge us on our run. But the real fun and what real competitive drifting comes down to is tandem, when you're both on the track. Each round, each car gets a chance to lead, and then you switch, and each car then, you know, the lead car follows. So that's one round. When you're the lead car, it's your job to run the perfect line with as much speed, angle, and impact as possible. When you're chasing, you want to basically mimic that lead driver, but try to have a little bit more angle than him. Be super aggressive on his door. Do not let him run away from you. The judges are basically using both runs back to back to see who wins the battle. You know, it sounds a lot harder to understand than it really is. When you're at an event, you should, you know, be able to pick up to it very easily. Yeah. I am fighting very hard to make our sport a lot easier to understand, because I get it for guys like you who might not be, you know, as intelligent as everyone else. You know, it takes a little bit of time to figure it out, but
I'll see you on the target circuit. We'll see how we do together there.
But yeah, so it's very untraditional. You know, my generation, again, no disrespect, my generation.
Oh, now he's telling me. And younger, first I'm stupid and I'm old.
And younger
great.
And younger generations, we grew up with X Games, so we get this judge sport thing. Yeah. And let's be honest, a lot of people don't even care. I'm the one that cares who wins. The people that are there to watch drifting just want to see us bang doors and have a good event. So, but because we're competitive machines, being drivers and teams, the series has to have something so we can understand how to win and that.
So as the old man ready for the box here, obviously, the thing that I got when you made me come out to Long Beach to see this thing.
Yeah.
And that's when I got it. I mean, in the car I got it, obviously, very cool. But what was so amazing about it, you know, I'm used to going to see like F1 or even NASCAR, just did this amazing thing with Hendrick, incredible teamwork and engineering going to those things. But with drifting, the difference between NASCAR, drifting, F1, anything, and then drifting, any one of the guys here with 10 grand in a car can go and do it.
Yep.
I thought that was so amazing about
it. I mean, definitely not at pro-level cars like any other motorsport. It's expensive and it progresses, but you can go, let's use a Mustang, for instance, and buy a stock Mustang and take it to the track and have a blast. You could buy a used Fox body. I mean, you can, yes, 5-10 grand, you can go and have fun and enjoy an amazing motorsport and be a part of an amazing scene.
Yeah. And I think that's what's so unique about the sport. You don't have that in any other racing whatsoever.
Yep.
I mean, we did Target Newfoundland. That's 50 grand minimum, and that's, you still have to add the car to it.
Yep.
And that's shipping the car, everything.
Yeah, and you know, from a professional and commercial perspective, if you look at traditional motorsport these days, like our attention span is so getting away from watching these events that are this long. And you know, like me personally, I enjoy watching a NASCAR race at it, but like a traditional road race, like where you can only sit and watch one turn and you have to walk 2 miles to see the other 2 turns, like it's just not conducive to the current culture, I believe. And drifting is something that's a stadium setting, everyone can be there and see everything, and it's just live. I mean, it's just nonstop action. So I think that's why we're seeing it, take off so well on a global level.
Yeah, I get it. Here's you giving me a lesson there. Very patient.
Is this the part where you were crying because you couldn't figure it out?
Yeah, that's why you got out of the car. You didn't want to see.
I was like, I'm out of this thing. No, you actually did pretty well.
Thank you.
I mean, it's tough, and a lot of people, you know, you had some road racing experience, and I think.
I like to point out there's cameras in that car. You can see it. I mean, you can't even see it. You gave me a lot of crap
believe there are some
for not looking in the right place.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. A lot of people don't do first. You know, when you're drifting, you're one step ahead of the car at all times. In order to be one step ahead of the car, you have to know where you're going as a priority.
Yeah.
Right.
The car or in life?
Both.
See, I'm not so stupid or old now.
You're not stupid.
I think that's me doing the drift. Or is that you doing
Is that
the
you
drift?
or is it me? It looks pretty good. It might be me.
That's good looking, man.
But no, it was you.
Yeah.
That was you.
And there's you with the lesson. And there's the car again. Oh, that's definitely me. And
By the way, though, how impressed were you with the V6 Ford Mustang?
it was awesome. When we first talked about doing this is a true story. We're back and forth, and I'm like, yeah, I call Ford. I'm like, I want a Boss 302 Laguna Seca. It's got to be red and black. I got to do this. And they're like, what? And then Vaughn calls. He goes, I got an idea. We're going to do this thing in a V6. I'm like, I'm not doing a V6. Then he turns up the morning of with this V6. Notice it's got the RTR wheels on it. It's got the Ford exhaust, which is awesome. Steve, you got to get more of those exhausts in these cars. The Ford racing exhaust is killer. Like that, I mean, this thing has done incredible views for us, this episode we did together. Yep. And like half the comments are, what exhaust is that?
Yeah, on a V6.
On a V6,
yeah. People are so quick to discount the V6, but if you think about it, you know, these things are over 300 horsepower. Now, what a V8 was, you know, previously. So, but, you know, obviously everyone loves the V8.
But, you know, I kind of laugh at that.
Don't hate the V6.
People, like, you don't make cars like they used to. We're in, like, a golden age right now, where a Mustang, the base car is 300 horsepower.
Yeah.
A Ford, what is it, the Fusion, you can get it all-wheel drive, you can get it two-wheel drive. I mean, there's so many different, actually, you know what, Steve? Come here for a minute. Come on up here. This is Steve Ling. Big round of applause for Steve Ling.
Nice job.
Come on up here. No, stand right here for us. So talk about Mustangs. This is the man that's been working on the 2015 car. So tell us a little bit about the 2015 car.
Well, I'll tell you what, before I do that, I just got to take a moment because I think what everybody's seeing now is not only is Vaughn a great drift driver, he's a great guy.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you.
That's why we like having a
big round of applause for Vaughn.
I think as everybody can see, this stuff just happened, right? It takes a lot of work, but you know what we love about Vaughn and I love about the car is, you know, you see a lot of similarities because a lot of work went into this thing. It's all new, top to bottom, and we made it with the feedback with people like in the audience here because not only does it have to be great on the street, great on the track, it's got to be great on the drag strip, it's got to be great drifter, it's got to do all those sorts of things with, you know, all the durability, the technology, everything everybody expects now. So, you know, it's back. It's got a brand new suspension.
Very excited about that.
The V8 is not only more powerful, and we've got, you know, the V6 back because it's kick-ass too. We've got a really cool EcoBoost engine.
And what's the
put
power
out
that's
more
putting
power.
out?
We haven't announced it yet. It'll be at least 310.
Out of the four-cylinder?
Out of the four-cylinder.
Okay, so golden age of cars.
It is.
A four-cylinder with 300 horsepower.
You know, I can't wait for everybody to drive. This thing it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, and you get the fuel, you know, with it.
Okay.
And all the other technology. The interior is great. So, you know, we've got one around the corner. You got to take a look at it. But I tell you, it's been a labor of love working on this thing.
Yeah.
And people, I just like I said, I can't wait for you to drive it. It's you're gonna love it.
Has Vaughn brought in, like, the car is very different now. I'd say it's got a much more like world look to it. Has Vaughn, I mean, he's been doing, what are you doing this now with the Mustang 9 years?
Yeah, 07.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has it brought in a different group of people by demonstrating it now through drift?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think look at who's here to watch this today. Look at who buys. I mean, the thing that's to me is great about
I think we've
Mustang,
lowered the average age of the people that come into the museum by half. Yeah.
Well, but
no more old people like
Mustang's been around for 50 years, but you see everybody driving it.
Yeah.
Everybody says, "Well, what's the typical Mustang customer like?" And I go, it's there's no age. You know, it's almost as many women as men. I mean, and plus now it's global. It's all around the world. You see all the different people that are buying it, why they buy it, how they drive it, where they drive it. It's all over the map, and you got to love that because, you know, again, we make all these different versions for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody likes to use their Mustang in a different way, and I think that's why, you know, we always say everybody's got a Mustang story, and it's true.
Yeah.
Because, you know, of what the car's been and how diverse it's been over the years.
Okay. Well, I can tell you we've already got our next lesson planned, and I want the next boss Laguna Seca 302, the 16, whatever it's going to be. Steve, thank you very much for coming up.
Thanks.
And you guys, after this, make sure you check out the 15 car. We've got it here at the Petersen.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks.
So here you are being incredibly patient with me. Thank you very much for that. That's my smoke. And then look what we did to the tires.
Yep.
Yeah, I
You'll
still
get
have
that.
those. I still have those.
You save those?
Oh, hell yeah.
Really?
I mean, how often do you have a world champion drifter teach you how to drift?
Okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
You know, some people.
Where are they at?
They are in a warehouse in El Segundo right now. You know, it's all
we have
good in
people
El
that
Segundo.
make photo frames out of those.
Really?
Yeah, they hang them on their wall and they put cut out a big circle photo in it.
That's what I need. Yeah. There you go. So now, not only world champion drifter, Jamaican karaoke expert, now you're an artist.
Interior designer, yep.
But your biggest achievement is not drifting. Your biggest achievement is not the Toyota Tercel. Your biggest achievement, this lovely young lady.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to argue that.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell she's doing with you, but she's lovely.
Yep, Beauty and the Beast.
Now, the interesting thing about this is cars brought this lovely woman to your life.
Yep. You want to hear that?
Of course. Do we want to hear that story?
All right. So one of my first sponsors was a shop, Mid-Atlantic Motorsports, in Maryland, and I had a good relationship with them, and I would always stop by there. And there was this car there that was like, it was sitting there forever, but it was getting some really cool things done to it. And I was like, what is this car that's been sitting here forever? Like,
What was it?
240SX.
240SX. Okay.
Yep. Again, the quintessential monkey see, monkey do drift car back then. So this was 10 years ago almost. And I'm like, well, whose car is this? And I'm like, oh, it's some chicks. I'm like, what? Like, getting this, you know, turbo upgrade, suspension, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, is she hot? And they're like, yeah. So I looked her up on MySpace.
Excuse me?
Yep, MySpace.
He says, I'm old.
Yeah. So I looked her up on MySpace, and I was like, oh, damn, all right. And I saw we had some mutual friends, and I hit her up with a message, and I'm like, hey, sup? See you like cars. And then I was just like, hey, you know, we have some mutual friends, and, you know, if you ever want to hang out, let's hang out. And
that was your opening line. If you ever want to hang out,
I don't remember. I wish I had the message. I really do.
You needed the Tercel back, buddy.
Yeah, I think Abby would make it sound not as cool as I'm making it sound if she was telling it. But anyway, so we hung out a couple times, and yeah, here we are 10 years later, married for 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Abby, come on up. Let's say hello to everybody. This is Abby.
Hi.
We could not do this today without Abby. She is the boss of the whole operation. This guy is just the guy that's behind the wheel to make the car look pretty. This is the brains of the operation.
Thank
Abby
you.
Gittin. Thank you very much for everything.
Yeah. So.
And wait a minute. Come here for a minute. What was the opening line?
I think he told me he was going to teach me how to drift.
And did he do that?
She always says that. I don't know if it's true, but it might be.
Yeah.
We did go to Summit Point a couple of times together, and he gave me a few lessons.
Was that your first date was a drifting date?
No.
No.
I think we hung out at some parties.
Parties.
Probably sang karaoke together.
Okay. Is he really good at this?
What, karaoke?
Yeah, karaoke.
No.
Fantastic.
Oh, so I think he should sing now when we're finished. Yeah.
I think everyone
Yeah, I think a little Dead or
You
Alive,
have
Wanted
to,
Dead or Alive.
you have to
Come
catch
on.
me on another time.
His voice still might be
Not
right from
performing
last
today. Yeah, you should have been there last night, though. It was good.
Okay, so tonight we'll all go there
There we
before we
go.
go to the airport.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, my dear. Abby Gittin.
No, but so, you know, to go back on that and the business aspect of it, at the time when we met, you know, I was doing all my PR and communications on top of driving and building the businesses. And when I met Abby, she had just happened to be in school for communications.
Yeah.
How convenient. So you know, she needed an internship while she was in college. And I was like, hey, baby, I'll give you an internship.
So you're saying I should hang out at college.
So she came in with her college book smarts, and I had my street smarts, you know, doing this school of hard knocks, just trying to figure it out, you know. I'm not educated, but I'm not like the best writer or anything like that. And so I just figured it out. And so anyway, took what I had learned, gave her all that info, and then she brought her college education into the picture. And now we're we're rolling.
Yeah.
So, you know, she was first focused on just newsletters and you know, social media as it started becoming what it is. And now, you know, she's everything. Scheduling, logistics. So she's my partner in business and in life, and it's amazing because we get to travel and have a blast together.
Speaking of travel, you guys literally have been around the world. This isn't just Formula Drift anymore.
It is not. No, I've turned this into a global program. I have a car in Europe, I have a car in China, and we have 2 cars here, and that's the WDS series. I've won the championship over there in China the last 3 years. We don't go there and run on a traditional track. They actually, in China, we use the old Olympic stadiums, which are sitting there doing nothing, and they build a track in them for us to go and drive on. And it's like, it's unbelievable. Like the Super Bowl of drifting, you know, we're in this Olympic stadium, 60,000 Chinese, and it's just, you know, the Chinese love a show. So everything that they do, they go big. And it's a really cool experience over there.
You've been spending some time in the Middle East recently, too.
Yeah, I've been spending some time in the Middle East. A lot of motorsport fans over there, a lot of Ford and Mustang fans. This is actually me in Saudi Arabia. I just got back from Dubai, and it really, I mean, you know, we all have a very different vision from our media of what the Middle East is, and it's a really, for the most part, everyone I've met and the hospitality has just been top notch over there.
Yeah. So I keep on hitting this business thing. Okay. Up until this point, you kind of created this job for yourself, and you were on a team.
Yep.
But then you kind of switched. You created a partnership with Nitto Tire.
Yep.
But what's different about this partnership? How has the paradigm shifted?
Well, you know, now I am a team owner. You know, before I was a driver that showed up and drove for a team, and now I'm a team owner. So not only, you know, do I own all the equipment and have to pay for every car that I crash, you know, it's a full-blown, you know, before it was managing some partners and not having to worry about the race team at all. And now it's motorsports program, global motorsports program, and also, you know, RTR. So as far as the motorsports and racing it's all my responsibility at the end of the day. And I've formed an amazing team that allows me to stay focused on what I'm doing with, you know, business and continuing the relationships and focusing on driving. But it's definitely shifted a lot and a lot more responsibility.
I mean, I'll put it out there. You have stepped into some big shoes here. This is I shouldn't say many, but key figures in the car world. Guys like Carroll Shelby, this is kind of the path you're going down.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very insane and huge shoes to fill. It's very insane even hearing my name, you know, along the lines with him. Someone I respect and it definitely have taken inspiration from with my path. But, you know, I'm just me. You know, I'm not...
Connect the dots. You literally created a name for yourself behind the wheel. You went out, created a business, and then you decided, I'm going to start building my own cars. And then now you have created your own race team, and you have partners like Nitto Tire.
Yep.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's how old are you now?
I'm 33.
I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I have an amazing, you know, team behind me. It's unreal because you never know how much of a team effort anything is until you get this deep into it. Yeah. And like, I would be absolutely nowhere. You know, I have a creative team and you know, my manager and obviously my amazing wife and then the whole motorsports team. And, you know, it's a huge process. I mean, but at the end of the day, you know, this is one of those things like people are always like, oh, how can you do what you're doing? And I go back to the, you know, people think money might drive, but like money can't motivate you to do the things that are required to get to this point. And it's so weird to me because I always growing up thought, oh, money. You you know, and the more that I'm around, like even with Ford and this new car, like the guys that are behind building this car and you know, Steve, for instance, travels and goes and shows the car. It's not because of his paycheck. There's the passion that drives these certain individuals to go for these things. So, you know, just kind of a reality.
I thought it was the cool blue shirt he had.
Yeah, no. No, it's because he loves this shit.
Yeah.
That's
Did
what
you
it's
know
from.
he is the same age as that car?
Yeah, well, I would hope I looked that good.
I got to start drinking the water in Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of teams, who's this?
Who's that?
Who are these people?
All right, so all the way to the right, that's my stepfather, Gary. The left is my mother. That jerk in the middle is me. Left is my father, and the left of that is my cousin, Cody. So my family, again, always very supportive. My grandmother's not in that one because she's usually at events as well. And yeah, so that was just a super proud moment right there.
So your dad got to see this?
Yeah. Yeah, my father actually passed away November last year. Definitely a stupid situation, but you know, he was super awesome and a huge part of who I am.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible what the man did he created an incredible citizen in you. Starting from $25 an A to this. I think a big round of applause for
Senior.
Senior. So here we are. What is this? I mean,
so my mom surprised me with that. She hit up our vinyl guy and made him put a bunch, like, you all know I do some weird faces every now and then. So she had him cut a bunch of the faces and put them on popsicle sticks. So they're at the driver's meeting, her and family and their friends. And when I come out of the driver's meeting, they're all standing there. It's like 15 of me. And my mom's so funny because she can't not laugh. Like when if she's up to anything, like she can't not laugh. So like hers is the popsicle stick going like this. Oh, man.
And then here is your current livery.
That is. Mm-hmm. Surprised you saw that. Surprised you saw the car in that picture.
There's a car in that picture? Really? I thought these were your new interns. So tell us about this car. I mean, we saw the 2005 car, which you paid over sticker for, which was a street car. What is this?
Yeah, well, you know, so changing over to my new team was kind of the beginning of a new era. And, you know, the big change is me partnering. You know, one of the big changes was me partnering with Nido. And when I decided I was going to do this, you know, I strategically picked the partners that I wanted to work with for this new era of my career. And Nido, you know, amazing tires, and they're super into enthusiasts. I mean, their whole theme is, you know, building tires and the lifestyle around what enthusiasts are into. So because I'm an enthusiast, mixed with how badass their tires are, it seemed to work. We chatted, we liked what each other were doing, and made it happen. So not only new tire partner, but the first time ever I've had full control of what my car looked like. Before it was defined by, you know, a corporation, and now I'm able to really show my style and do what I want to do. So that's what this car is. It's basically something wild and aggressive and mean that, you know, is inspired by Dazzle Camo, which was camouflage that was used on old ships in early World War II. So, you know, just got pretty wild and crazy with it, and you know, that also inspires, you know, our team gear and the designing of our rig and things like that. So got a new look and new feel.
And the suit.
And we like to party on the podium.
Is that what this is?
Yeah, that's me partying. I was just checking my teeth there.
Yeah, and then you got some more interns here.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, you know, Monster really takes care of us on the interns.
Yeah.
They keep the rig clean for us.
Speaking of rigs, Your, was his stepfather?
Yep.
Yeah, what business was he in?
When I was younger, now he sells insurance, but for big rigs. But when I was younger, he owned a Peterbilt dealership.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, he does.
And you just recently bought a vehicle. What'd you buy?
Yeah, so he did that. And when I was detailing, I also used to clean big Peterbilt tractors. And so, you know, in our conversation, as here you're leading me, irony is I just bought a big Peterbilt to pull my second rig, which is just blows my mind that I even have one. So it's very ironic that my stepfather used to sell Peterbilts. Here's me sitting in one, and now I just had to buy one to support the initiatives that we're doing. So I don't even.
Now you just need a crab shack in the back of the Peterbilt, and you're all set.
Abby, put that on the list, please.
Abby, get on there. Yeah.
Crab shack.
Yeah. I want 20% of the take, whatever you make out of that thing. Okay.
We'll give you some crabs.
Yeah.
Wait.
Okay. That didn't come out right. We all agree? Yeah. Okay. This is a G-rated audience, man. There are kids in the audience. So here you are again with your current car.
Yep.
One thing that is interesting to me is every time you're on the podium, you have this very interesting stance. Okay? Would everybody agree this is an interesting stance? Kind of looks like he's growling at you. Yeah? Yeah. Do you think your mother would be proud of that?
So that's my grandmother in the background. And so, see, everyone thinks I'm just acting with this stance, right? There's me at 5 doing the same thing. So I don't know what it is.
It's
just like my power, you know? It's a power stance.
Amazing.
I don't know. Yeah, so pretty interesting that I was doing that, but it just shows how real I am, you know? I don't forget my roots, evidently.
There's his roots, and there he is today.
Boom.
On that note, man, you are truly incredible.
Thanks, buddy.
Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you all coming out and sitting and listening. I kind of feel like you're similar to Oprah, man. It was kind of a...
Well, you didn't cry. I almost got you to cry there.
Almost.
We'll talk a bit more. We'll get you there. We'll get you there. But, you know, people think I do this because I want to, like, learn how to drift or want to drive cars. But really, I want to be able to say, you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. But I haven't been able to do that.
Well, I tried to get everybody here a Mustang today,
do we have a couple
Mustang,
Mustangs?
but this wasn't gonna work out. However,
I think what we should do is pick somebody, get their questions, and see who has the most interesting question. Or maybe we should see if they pay attention and test them. See if they're paying attention. Whoever answers the question right gets what?
well, we were able to get, in celebration of 50 years of the Ford Mustang, I got my friends at Nitto to offer a brand new set of tires for you hoonigans out there that probably need a set of tires. So yeah, we have a set of awesome
brand new set of tires.
Brand new set of tires.
Okay.
For your car.
So I think we should come up with a very specific question, something about your background.
I think we have another way of finding it, didn't we? Are we getting off track here?
We're not getting off track.
You have another plan?
I have another plan, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like the wizard, you know, I'm behind the curtain here, moving things around.
Okay.
Yes. So we should ask, what's some innocuous thing about your background? I want to test the audience, see if they're paying attention. This way you guys will pay attention in the future. See if Steve finally gives us Ford Mustangs to give away.
Stop putting him on the spot, please.
Oh, I got an idea. Ready? Who can answer how many spokes did your first car have?
And what if 10 people can answer that?
What if 10 people? I got one guy that can answer it. Sir, how many spokes?
Hold on, so wait, you're saying that this question is giving away tires?
Giving away tires.
You're blowing it.
I got two guys.
400. 100 per wheel. 100.
Is that correct?
I mean, yeah, that's it. They were 100.
That's it?
All right. All right. John Schultz. He was paying attention. None of you all were paying attention to that when I was talking about 100-spoke Daytons.
That's the total spokes?
Yeah, they were 100
That's
spoke
correct.
on each wheel. I was even going to wait for someone to say 100. I didn't even do the math. But he's right. There's 400 on that car.
And he's an old man. See how smart we old men are? By the way, I like the way you part your hair. Come here. Let's everybody wants to see
So,
you.
by the way, this is John. It's so ironic that he won this because he probably does need tires. But he runs at Beach City's Mustang Club, and he does a lot of cool things
Mustang
out here.
guy. Hey.
How are you?
John, come on
So
up here.
What's up, buddy?
How's it going, buddy?
Wonderful, man.
Good to see you.
So we can actually say so you were really paying attention for this.
I was really paying attention.
Okay. And
I
what
don't
did you-
agree with his choice of,
You don't?
early cars, but
You didn't like the Torcel?
oh, come on. Come on.
It was like 500 bucks.
I want to make it clear, I did not make a commission off that extra $5,000 you paid for your first Mustang that I sold you.
Oh, yeah, we
At
did.
Sunset Ford.
He worked at Sunset, and that's where we
Yes.
bought it from.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Well, congratulations on your new tires.
Yes, well, thank you very much.
Hopefully you will tear them up.
Yes, they're not going on 100-spoke wheels.
No, definitely
Not at
not.
all.
We want them on a Mustang. We want them going sideways.
Awesome.
Good to see you.
Enjoy, buddy.
All right, buddy.
Okay. So a couple of things, a couple of housekeeping items. We are going to have, if you have any questions, remember we've got these comment cards here. Please hand them to the lovely Marielle over there. Coming up, so this is Vaughn Gittin Jr. once again, big round of applause.
Thank you all
Vaughn
very much
Gittin
again.
Jr.
Appreciate the time.
So for those of you that are here in the audience, and we should probably tell people who are joining the live stream, we are having the 50th anniversary Mustang Madness here at the Petersen Automotive Museum. So we've got a couple of things here. We've got the 2015 car, which we referenced earlier.
Amazing, amazing, amazing.
Amazing. We've got the first ever retail sold Mustang. Did you know that?
No?
It's actually VIN number 1002, but it's the first ever retail Mustang, and it was sold in the Yukon. Steve, why was it sold in the Yukon, the first car?
How would he?
The reason it got sent there first.
Yeah, you got to get on that. That's a wow. Who knew? But as part of this, we also have what car here? It's green.
Oh,
So
the
you're
double
getting
down.
old.
Well, I'm just wondering, there's so many cars here.
Yeah.
The double downs here.
Double down.
The project that we did with Speed Hunters for SEMA this year is a very unique car in the fact that it has airbag suspension on it. And
So it's an RTR that
Yep.
you put an airbag suspension
yeah,
on.
it's a Spec 2 RTR. We put our fender blisters on it, did some special interior stuff, some custom Recaro seats, and put air suspension on it, and which is very weird because I'm all about performance. And when I was first mentioned about these airbags, I was like, yeah, no, not a chance I would put airbags on a car. And Airlift actually has made this pretty amazing performance airbag kit that the car feels amazing. You would think it'd be super bouncy and kind of all over the place, but it's very planted, and they've done an amazing job. So I kind of took the challenge. I challenged them, and they took it. I was like, hey, I want to really see what this car can do and how much fun it can have. Can it jump? Can it drift? Can it road race? And it's really cool to be able to press a button and get over big bumps and things like that. So it's just a cool project. It's got a really aggressive stance. It's got 325 nittos on the back of
they're
it, so
killer
they're
on
like
the back,
12
yeah.
inch wide. So fun car.
Awesome. Actually, it was the first car I've ever operated an air suspension on.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
Yeah, I was
tutorial.
giving him lessons on the phone on how to lower
awesome.
it because I had to have it at the proper ride height.
Yes, and you guys should go out there and take a look because I am the one that put it in that spot.
Yeah.
So we have some questions.
Cool.
Here. Yeah. Oh, also, we're forgetting. What am I saying? 50th anniversary. We've got a Mustang exhibit here. We've got a number of cars, some customs from Galpin. We've got an old what is it? A California Special with a 390 and a 4-speed over there. A notchback.
Ronald one of Ronald Reagan's cars is here as well.
Ronald Reagan
The
65 Mustang.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We've got that as you walk in there. So you guys got to check that out before you leave. And then some questions we've got here. Let's see here. What gear are you in while drifting around the track, asks Marcus.
That depends on what track we're at. But usually, so we have a quick change differential in our car, which means I can change my rear gear ratio. We can change it in like 5 minutes. So we usually set the car up so that we enter the course in 3rd gear, and then there's some portions of some tracks that I'll have to downshift in a second. So Again, all track oriented, but for the most part, second and third gear.
You know, I think we gave the tires to the wrong guy.
Why?
Marcus gave you a drawing.
Dude, that looks like my artwork,
Isn't that
actually.
cool?
That's you?
Marcus.
Man.
Nice job. Come up here, Marcus.
What's up, dude? Loving the hat, dude. Look at the kid on this
cool.
guy.
Look at this guy.
Yep.
See, in California, cool kids with hats and drawings.
And you know what? That art looks like the way I draw cars, too. Good job. Can I keep that?
Can he keep that? Look, he wants it back.
I want that. Thank you.
See, he sees us an
And
opportunity.
even wrote Ford on here. Nice.
He'll be at the 100th anniversary, Steve. Make sure you got him on RCP. So a very important question here by an unnamed source.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I was right, yeah. But this is important here. Will you miss the live axle on the Mustang with the new independent rear suspension? Or was your car, I mean, you're going to build one?
Yeah, no, I mean, the live axle is very simple. So there's, how do I explain this in a way I think everyone can understand it, not to discount technical. Independent suspension is fantastic because you can make it point and do whatever you want it to do, right? If you want a little bit of camber in the rear right and more in the rear left, or you want to change the toe and have it, you know, unequal or whatever, you know, you can set it up however you want. That being said, it's very easy to confuse yourself with that if you don't know, know what you're doing. So the live axle made it very simple, but the IRS, without any question, is going to increase the performance, the feel of the car on the road. So, you know, overall, I think it's definitely a great move that Ford's gone with it, you know. But in general, you know, I think we'll be just as good as we were always. So.
Okay, awesome. I personally am very much looking forward to the independent rear suspension on the car, no doubt about it. I was also a very big fan, as if you couldn't tell, by that 302 Laguna Seca, and even with the live, that was right about the perfect stock setup of that car. Awesome car. Anyway, moving on. Jim the Beast Foster, very interesting name there. Jim the Beast Foster.
Yeah.
He's got a very interesting question here.
Okay.
He wants to know, obviously he was paying too much attention to the Torcel part, what is your most memorable moving violation? Good question, man. That's an awesome question. Jim the Beast Foster. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to give you something cool here. I don't know that I really have any.
Yeah, come on. No,
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple speeding tickets, but I've never, man, I don't even want to say this. Yes, there we go. I've never, ever in my life gotten caught drifting anywhere. So I've never gotten in trouble doing that. But I would say the most unique one, Abby, good reminder, in Madrid, Spain this past year, I got off, the GPS has totally messed me up. So
GPS, you say?
Yeah, the GPS messed me up. So it told me that I need to go left. So we got off an exit ramp that went, to the right. So, but I need to go left. So I just simply, there's a cop right there. He had someone pulled over. I just simply turn around, make a U-turn in the middle of the road, no cars. It was safe. I pulled in the shoulder, looked, U-turned, go down the road. Next thing you know, there's a cop behind me, pull over. 4 other cops come. They're screaming in Spanish at us. It's me and 4 other people in the car. We get out, and we're held up for like an hour. And they're like, where's your driver's license? I'm like, I don't. Here's my Maryland license. Where's your international license? I don't have one. Breathalyzer, like the whole deal for making a U-turn. And I explained to him, like, look, the GPS, I don't know. I'm not from here. He's like, well, you can't turn around in the middle of the road here in Spain. I'm like, I've seen some crazy stuff while I'm here, and you're really gonna mess with me about turning around. So anyway, long story short, I didn't pull the card of who I was or what I was doing until it got to be very serious. And then they're like, oh, you're here for Gymkhana, right? It was myself and Ken Block were in town to do this event, and then they became huge fans, and it was all good. But it was too late, and he still had to give us the ticket. So that was the one, a stupid U-turn, cost us an hour, and it was scary. Like they had guns out. It was crazy for a minute.
But if you really think about it, it was an opportunity to once again turn someone to your side of the force.
Maybe.
They became fans.
Yep. No, well, after they escorted us to the track to the right way and came in and checked the event out.
Okay.
And I still paid my €200 fine.
There you go. Okay. Well, that's dedication to the fans. Yeah. This is an interesting question, especially for a track guy like me. Christian Williamson asks, do you ever get a chance to go to track days, like Time Attack style? If so, what's your favorite track?
I don't get to often. The spare time I have, I try to go to grassroots drift events. But I have spent some time at Summit Point in West Virginia, which is close to me, and I get access to that track and do some fun hot laps. So I'm sorry I don't really have a cool answer for you on that. I don't spend a lot of time at tracks. But my favorite, I would say though, my favorite track in general that I have hot lapped before, Laguna Seca is pretty amazing. That would probably be my favorite track I've driven on in that capacity.
Okay. Okay. Along the same lines, Alex has a very good question. Other than Ford's Romeo Proving Grounds, where is a good place to take lessons? I'm assuming to drift, Alex.
Yeah. There's it's called DriftSchoolUSA.com, which is run out of Willow. Takayama, who's a competitor of mine in Formula Drift and one of the most amazing, genuine people you'll ever meet. Also a really good chiropractor.
So you were an IT guy and a drifter. He's a chiropractor and a drifter.
Yeah.
Just want to get that straight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but he runs a Drift School USA, and he has cars out here in California, and he meets you at Willow, and you drive his cars, and he's a really good trainer. And I believe Bondurant does some stuff still as well.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
I would highly recommend working with Taka, especially if you're in the California area.
Awesome. Okay. Marissa asks, what's the favorite part about what you do?
Man, I truly enjoy all of the facets. Traveling is super cool, but I think in general, like, I thrive off of other people's energy and like meeting other people. So I think a lot of it is the opportunities of the people that I get to come in contact with, and hearing their stories, and a lot very recently in the last couple of years, people have told me how like things that I'm doing inspires them, and they're doing this because of things they've seen that I've done, and that just, it feels really good. I have a lot of things that drive me, but I think that is probably the number one thing that comes to mind.
Okay. Eric, he asks a very interesting question, and I'm assuming this is streetcar. What was the first Mustang you've owned?
First Mustang I owned was a 2010 GT. That was the first
GT.
one I got. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I was running the 05 body, I just wasn't at a point where I could have a Mustang as a daily when I was running the S190, that original style. And then in 2010, I got my first new Mustang, which I used to actually, I prototyped our first RTR off of that, and then later gave it to my father.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which now, obviously, I have back because he's no longer with us. But he, before he passed away, demanded that car go to his grandson. So evidently, I'm holding it until we have a son.
For to be.
Yeah.
Got it. I understand. Along those lines, what would Leslie Mach 1 Baby asks, what would be the best car to learn to drive in a manual transmission?
What would be the best car?
To learn how to drive a manual transmission.
I think just about any newer manual transmission car is pretty simple. For sure, you know, I would love to see you learn in a Ford Mustang, and they make it really easy. You can really just let the clutch out, and it almost automatically does itself. But without being a hardcore salesman right now, yeah, anything with a clutch and a stick shift. I mean, they all work the same, and you know, you have to learn the motion to make it work. So
okay. On the opposite side of Ford Mustangs, Michael James asked a very interesting question. What, obviously, he's asking this to both of us, what do we feel about the going green attempt and what the impact that will have on the car culture, whether it's drifting or car culture in general?
What do we feel about the going green attempt? I mean, I think that in general, I think that it's a great thing to start, you know, to care about the environment and for all of us to do the things that we can do to help it. I think there's a whole lot of other things that we can do as people other than just focusing on what cars are doing. You know, I think, you know, still seeing people litter and doing stupid things like that. But, you know, I fully support it. You know, we're out there burning tons of gas and, you know, smoking tires a little bit. So, you know, I'm not claiming that we're in the greenest sport in the world, but I think that, you know, I think my generation, it's cool now to recycle and it's cool to care about the environment. It's part of our culture. So I think a lot of the things that we're doing offsets some of the, you know, some of the negatives to some of the things we're involved in.
So maybe a drift display in the 2.3 EcoBoost car. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Convert to 4-cylinder turbo, save fuel, and
nothing wrong with that.
And then that makes up for the tires being burnt up.
Which we can now make into art. Speaking of artwork, we have a question about RTR.
Yep.
Where can you get those RTR emblems?
That's funny. Everybody asks that question. We don't sell the emblems to anyone but RTR customers.
Okay.
RTR customers meaning people that buy fully packaged cars. We do make our parts available. Obviously, they're available aftermarket, but we don't. The emblems are special. You know, if you ever see an RTR emblem on a car, you have a real RTR. So.
Awesome. Okay. And Rosalia asked a very interesting question. Would you give her a ride along for your birthday?
For my birthday?
For her birthday. For her birthday.
Okay, so I'll do the standard ride-along answer.
Okay.
I love giving ride-alongs. I would seriously let everybody take a ride. The best thing that I could say is that Nitto is having an enthusiast day. Don't quote me. I believe it's August 2nd out here in California. And leading up to that event, we do some ride-along opportunities between my Facebook and Nitto's Facebook. So keep an eye on that.
Okay.
And maybe we can make something happen.
Awesome.
I don't want to say yes because then I say yes to everybody here right now. So I would absolutely, who am I talking to right now?
Rosalia.
You.
Rosalia.
I would love to take you for a ride.
But we will say happy birthday, Rosalia.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. With that, I want to say thank you to you for joining us, coming out all this way to join us at the Petersen Automotive Museum. I want to thank Nitto for making this possible. They're very happy to join us and provide us with these fantastic swag for you guys.
Yeah, thank you all seriously for coming out. I've really enjoyed it and greatly appreciate the support.
And Vaughn is such a giver. He's going to be doing an autograph session downstairs, and he brought some posters and some hero cards that he will sign for you guys. There's, of course, some swag you can get in our gift shop downstairs. We continue our Mustang Madness tomorrow with Galpin Autosports President Bo Buckman, your buddy, and also Mustang RTR dealer.
Yeah, he's awesome. Bo
is a great guy.
He's a really solid guy, and they do, you know, man, Galpin has done some amazing, cool custom cars, and like you said, there's a few of them here. One of which my favorite is the 4-engine drag car.
Oh, the Mach 4.
That thing
4
is
engines,
amazing.
4-wheel drive.
That thing is amazing.
You guys got to check that out.
I've been trying to talk Bo into let me play with that a little bit. I don't know if it's going to happen.
No, nothing? Should have asked him last night. I think he would have said yes last
Maybe.
night. Yeah,
maybe.
And then after that, we're doing a Haggerty Classic Car Valuation Seminar. That's at 2 p.m. tomorrow. So follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Vaughn on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you for joining us via the live stream.
See y'all. Thank you very much.